Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I regularly talk about the books that I'm reading. This week, got a special one here. It's House Rules by Jodie Picoult, and I've read a few of her books actually. I can't grab the titles off the top of my head, but I've read a couple, and I'll admit I read this book in about 24 hours and it's like 602 pages. Yeah. Because I finished the Julie Andrews books, which was the review before this, and I read the first chapter of this book the day that I finished Julie Andrews' homework, and then the following day I was just reading this practically all day. I think this is my new favourite book. It's up there with Chinese Cinderella by Adeline Myanmar, which is like the all-time favourite. And then I've also got We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. Hated the film, sorry, but the book is so good, even though I hated the mother in the book, but it has to do with how it was written. I think that's pretty much intentional. So to go on with House Rules, I read it, as I said, in about 24 hours, and I could not put it down. That's how good it was. So I'll read you the blurb because that's what I do. When Emma Hunt's son is diagnosed with Asperger's, she knows she will do anything to help him. She expects other people not to understand. She expects the stares and whispers. She even expects trouble with the police. But she doesn't expect Jacob to be charged with murder. And when all the hallmarks of your son's condition, his tics, his inappropriate actions, his inability to look you in the eye, can be read as guilt, when you cannot put your hand on your heart and swear he is innocent, how can you help your child then? I am going to confess, I figured out the ending within the first couple of chapters. There were points where I just thought, oh, is that a red herring? Is it trying to take me off? And it's just like, no. The path that I was on in regards to the ending was bang on. But I'll say that it doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the book, the fact that I figured it out quite early. Because to be honest, it's more about the journey than the destination in this book. Because you're reading it from lots of points of view. You've got Emma, the mum, you've got Jacob, which is her son who has Asperger's, then you've got her other son Theo, and then you've got the police officer who ultimately arrests Jacob, and then you've also got the lawyer who she hires to represent her son in court. Those are all the points of view that you have within this book, and as I said, it's about the journey in this book, because, you know, it's even in the title, it's the House Rules. He's very literal, because throughout the book, when you're reading it from Jacob's point of view, he's there going, this is just my way of life. I take things quite literally. If somebody tells me to take a seat, I'm going to take the chair. I'm not going to sit down, I'm going to take the chair. And it's how he learns to get used to, I guess, some of the colloquialisms. I can't say that word. But he gets used to some of them. Then there's others that he really doesn't. And throughout the book, he is very defensive of what his part is. I'm trying to be very careful with my wording here, because he's accused of murder. He's accused of murdering his teacher. He has a fight with his teacher and his teacher's boyfriend in a public place, and she basically tells him to get lost. With his knowledge of kind of things not being quite as literal as he may think, he thinks, oh, she didn't mean it, and he turns up for his next appointment with her at her house. So he turns up at the house and he doesn't have his appointment with her. What happens in the house sets him off. He runs home and basically goes comatose in his room, and his mum's trying to kind of get him out of that situation, and she's there going, it's okay, what happened, and all he can say is, the appointment didn't happen. I didn't talk to Jess. Yeah, it's definitely about the journey that all of the characters go on, and I must admit, because I figured it out quite early, there were points when I got really frustrated with the other characters in the book. I think nowadays people would be a little more accommodating. I say nowadays, this book was released in 2010, so it was 10 years ago, and 10 years ago you don't think of autism and Asperger's as being like a new thing. They talk in the book about the history of Asperger's and autism, and there's even an element of the kind of anti-vaxxers and stuff in there, and how a parent reacts to the fact that a lot of these symptoms come out after the jabs. And I'll admit I'm pro-vaxxer. I'm usually not like particularly politics heavy on this channel, and even if I know it has been proven not, but even if autism was a result of vaccinations, wouldn't you rather have a child with autism than a dead child who has contracted an easily preventable disease? Just putting that out there. But yes, so you go on the mother's journey, Emma, and you read about obviously Jacob's point of view and what he thinks he has done and what he hasn't done, and how he knows himself to be in the right. Jacob knows that he's in the right in this situation. It doesn't necessarily mean he is, but Jacob knows himself to be in the right. Then you've got the point of view of the brother, Theo, who's talking about growing up as a younger brother to Jacob, but is actually behaving more like the older brother, and his relationship with his brother growing up through that, and being known as the brother of the kid with Asperger's, or the brother of the weird kid. And I just think it's a very, the way it's written, I don't know how to word this, I'm trying to be very sensitive with this subject, because it's a very, very sensitive subject that they're covering in the book. But yes, as I said, I'm trying to be not say as much about this one, just because it is more about the journey rather than the ending. And a lot of other books, the ending is the ultimate over the journey. But in this one, it is all about what every single person goes through to get there. But there were points when I was reading it and just going, you're asking the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question. You know this boy is very literal in the way he asks and answers questions. And you're asking the wrong ones. Because throughout the book you realise he's lying by omission, Jacob, and because he's never asked outright certain questions. And so he'll answer the question that's been put to him, but he won't add anything to it. So it was just like when he turns up at the house for his lesson, and he goes, I didn't have the lesson. What he doesn't say is that he did go into the house, and again, I'm not going to go beyond that because it might spoil some of it. It really does take that line by omission throughout the book. Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm distracted. I think I've got a bee's nest outside my window. I've been seeing a lot of bees out there. It's very distracting. It's House Rules by Jodie Picoult. Such a good book. As I said, you know, it's definitely up there in my favourite books now. I definitely cannot get rid of this book. Next one, we'll see. I'll say that there's, you know, he's been accused of murder, so there's a murder mystery in there. If you're interested about a story about autism and diagnosis and families and parents in that situation, that's good for that kind of book. If you're just looking for a good old mystery, it's a good book, and it's also got funny elements in there. But I wouldn't say it was a comedy. It's definitely more kind of along the murder mystery side of things, but with a bit of a twist, because I will say that throughout the book you are hearing from the murderer's point of view. House Rules by Jodie Picoult. So yes, thank you so much for watching. My name is Debbie. This has been, I was going to say this has been Ballet Diaries. This hasn't been Ballet Diaries. I haven't been Ballet Diaries in such a long time. So my name is Debbie. Thank you so much for watching. This has been me talking or reviewing House Rules by Jodie Picoult. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I will see you next week for another video. Mwah.